Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. This is obviously unscheduled. I just came back from hours and hours of shopping for the simplest needs for my kitchen, like knives and forks and glasses, because where I am um, is a lovely room with a kitchen, but it had nothing in it. And those are friends of mine who own a beautiful um, hostel. It's called David's Hostel. We know each other for many, many, many years. When I first came to Tiberias in 2013, I came from my house in Tzfat that I couldn't stay because it was too high for me and I couldn't breathe, and it was basically live or die. So I had to come to Tiberias. So between Tiberias and Tzfat, it's 20 kilometers, and from 1,200 meters high to 300 meters below sea level in 20 minutes. So when we say Israel is a microcosm of the world, so it is unbelievable. In Tiberias, I'm very, very well. I feel extremely, extremely good. There is lots of oxygen for me, and there is the Sea of Galilee. So I haven't actually been there yet. I'll go there tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day of shopping, and it'll be in the supermarket because up until now I didn't have the dishes, and I need milk dishes and meat dishes and knives and forks and basically everything. So I bought very inexpensive things, but I have everything now. And my dear friend David brought me a present, and he brought me for the room, and he brought me a microwave because there's only one gas burner. So it's okay for me. I don't really need very much more. And I bought a big pot. I'll show it to you for Shabbat. So I now have candles. I have everything ready for Shabbat. That was the most important thing. And so let me tell you. I left in 2016, and I was back and forth because I loved Reggio so much. And Reggio held me, and I was extremely, extremely happy in Reggio. But not only Reggio, the main conversation for me really was Bova Marina, what I found in Bova Marina, which was Parco Archioderi, and in Parco Archioderi, a piece of my soul. Now, Parco Archioderi is a synagogue, or the archaeological remains of a synagogue from the 1400s. And very much not looked after, and very much not taken care of, and very much unknown. People don't know about it. On my very first visit, uh, people that invited me took me there without telling me anything. I knew nothing about it. And when I got there, I couldn't stop crying. I was crying and crying and crying and crying. And we walked with a guide and he explained, and I just walked from one place to the other. And all of a sudden, I stopped at a place that later on I found out was right to where they think the mikveh was, the ritual bath, and where they think that the gabbai, the person who basically takes care of everything in the synagogue, was there to care for the people that came and to give them money if they needed it. Well, I felt something enormous there, and it basically held me, and I had extreme visions um, of burning, of burning, of burning. I can't explain to you, but I knew that in one of my lifetimes, I burned in that place, on that place where I was standing, and I simply could not move. I couldn't move. And crying and so I said Kaddish, the prayer for the dead. But a woman alone is not allowed to say Kaddish. But I wasn't alone. I felt like around me there were all the necessary souls I needed in order to be able to say Kaddish. And then I got quieter, and everybody came, and they said, come, we'll now go and have some lunch. And we walked 30 meters, 40 meters, and all of a sudden we were on the beach in a place called La Perla Ionica. And a woman came toward me and she said, you don't have to worry about anything. I know exactly what you need because rabbis have been here and I know what I can make for you and how I have to do it. That was Conchetta. And then I met her husband, Guillermo. And then all this right at the beginning. And then I saw a place that had an incredible grapevine. And I just was drawn to go there. And I said, this is where I would like to do Sukkot, the feast of la festa delle campane, Sukkot, the festival of the huts. And she said to me, she said, whatever you want, whatever you need, we will do for you. Just like that. She know me from Adam. So then we went, and then we had lunch, and she made a fish for me on paper plates and plastic, and a salad with olive oil and just lemon, and it just everything perfect with knowledge. And from that moment on, we became great friends. And every year for the high holidays, because I need to pray, and I need to be by the water, and I need to be alone, and I need to have no interference with my connection. And so for Shavuot and for Yom Kippur, and immediately Sukkot follows, I would go to La Perla Ionica, and they would build the most beautiful sukkah for me, exactly the way I wanted, and I would climb big, gigantic. I would climb, and they would bring palm fronds and one kind, another kind, and sticky kind, and olive branches, whatever I wanted, and pomegranates and dates on that most unbelievable, beautiful things. And people that I knew in Reggio, I invited to spend Shabbat, and I had a little house. And the little house, I koshered everything, and then I would make the most beautiful Shabbat right at, in front, 5 meters away from the ocean. And for 5 years consecutively, we did this. I had 25, 30 people cooking for everybody, myself. I mean, just joyous and wonderful time. Until the government decided that after 45 years of the work of my friends and their family and their fathers, I mean, 45 years is basically second generation, day and night, 105 little houses like the one that I rented, that all belonged to different people who came to spend time at the sea in the summer, in the spring, whenever. And then there was a beautiful restaurant that they had, and the government came and they closed everything up, took it away from them, closed everything. You can't go in, because they said it's not their territory, and what they did was not right, correct, even though all their papers, everything is done. And that was the end of Perla Ionica. But on the last Sukkot, the last day of Sukkot, Simchas Torah, was October 7th. And I finished Chag, I finished holiday, and we walked to the restaurant, and the first pizza in the oven was my pizza, and the cheese was my cheese. Because then afterwards I can't have the pizza because there are other stuffs there. So I have to wait for the first pizza, bring my cheese, and this is tradition, absolutely tradition there, that when I am, the pizza guy waits for me, and we will do my first pizza. We get to the restaurant. A friend of mine stayed for the weekend, and she and I were having dinner together, pizza, and I'll never forget. Guglielmo came up to me and he said, "Miriam, there is a horrible war in Israel." I'll never forget that moment. And of course, that was October 7th. And from that moment on, basically, by the end of October, November, beginning of November, the Perla Ionica was completely closed off, and I haven't been able to be back there. It's locked up. From October 7th, my existence of whatever I did, whatever I had, wherever I was invited, all the conferences, all of the things that made my life in Reggio Calabria so meaningful and important, and people coming for Shabbat, and people coming for Hanukkah, and people coming for Rosh Hashanah, and talking about the holidays, and learning about Judaism, and whatever I did in that period of time completely stopped. And in a moment, I wasn't there anymore. And for 19 months, basically every door was closed. And the things that I did were against the desires of the Jewish community, which tried to stop me from the beginning, from when I arrived to the end. And of course, I had a fabulous poetry competition, national poetry competition for the Shoah and for peace, with hundreds of poets and writers and schools and conferences. It just so much work. Besides my work, besides my exhibitions, besides all the prizes for my poetry, besides publishing 4 or 5 books, I don't even remember, during that period of time, in Italian, also in English. But all of a sudden, 19 months later, 18 months later, I couldn't take it anymore. I was so completely alone and so completely forgotten that people that I considered to be friends, I didn't hear from in months and months and months. And only when I put out that I was going to leave, did these people sort of show up. There were only 3 people who called me, actually, and I really couldn't speak to anybody. And then there were a number of incidents, important ones, politically, in Rome with the Jewish community, and. And I said, it's enough. It's enough. The war broke out. But I made my decision before the war broke out, even though I knew almost to the day what was going to happen. And on the 13th, 12, 11, 10, 9th of June, I made my ticket to come back to Israel. And my whole vision of everything that I thought about and everything that I wanted and how I wanted to continue my life, looking around me, where I was, how it was, looking around Italy, Israelis not welcome, Israelis arriving in Florence and being thrown out of their hotels, Israelis going into a restaurant in Naples and being thrown out of the hotel. Things going on politically that were totally and completely anti-Semitic, but totally and completely, and a community that didn't really stand up. There are very few voices in Italy, Jewish voices, that really powerfully stand up. And there's very little in politics, national politics, that is fighting for the right of a Jewish community. And it's a big Jewish community in Italy. It's not, it's not like where I was in Reggio, where I was basically the only Orthodox, openly Orthodox woman, Jewish woman in Reggio. Okay, there is no synagogue. My job was to educate. My job was shlichut, emissary, to educate. And that's what I did. Besides everything else, I mean, my own life, my own students, my own teaching, all of that besides everything else. And here I am. So I made the ticket, and I was going to go the 18th of September to get here before Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, before the holidays, before Sukkot. I said, I cannot do another holiday alone. And since I really couldn't invite anybody because nobody was in contact with me, so there was nothing to think about. The holidays, the high holidays, were going to be in Israel. So I made the ticket for the 18th of September. Called my friend, said I was coming. Yeah, okay. And then I was coming back on the 4th of November. And by that time, I will have found, in my mind, I will have found a place to live, a house, and then I would create my my container. And the way I come, I will go back. So, hold on. Luna, I'm in alive. You just cut off my live. The telephone cut off my live. Oh God. Okay, tell me what you have to tell me.
Okay, I'm here in Tiberias. Wanted to know at what time you want us to meet.
But didn't we say 7 o'clock?
We said 6 or 7, so
Okay, well, I'm in some way I'm gonna have to finish this live. When I'm finished, I'll call you.
okay.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Hi. Sorry. I have to meet a friend of mine, and they came early. Anyway, how do I explain this? I made the ticket with a return, and 3 days later, 4 days later, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days later, on the 13th of June, at 8 o'clock in the morning, I got a note from my Rav in Israel, my Rav's wife. And what she wrote was, get a ticket, take a suitcase, don't wait, come home. Hand of God, hand of God. I didn't think. I called up to try to change my ticket. I knew they wouldn't. They didn't. So I called El Al. I bought one-way ticket for the first possible date that I could get, which was the 3rd of July. And that was it. Here I am in Tiberias, in my room, and I'm almost. I need to go to the supermarket, and then I have everything I need, and I put everything together so I can live with it, okay? And next week I start teaching again, but this week I'm taking for myself. And what I really wanted to tell you was that the most unbelievable, incredible occurrences. Of course, I know where I'm going. You know, nothing, absolutely nothing has changed. Everybody is as calm and quiet as usual. Um, Arabs walking and doing their work in the buildings and whatever. Normal. I walk into stores that I used to walk in, and they all recognized me, and they all were thrilled and happy that I was back. There's not a moment of being strange, a moment of not feeling at home, a moment of where have you been? Why did you? Nothing. Not a question. Wow, how great to see you. I haven't seen you in such a long time. Yeah, it's 8 years. What? Not possible. Can't be possible. 8 years. Wow. And then we go into how I haven't changed, how they haven't changed, how everything is the same, how thank God, uh, with all there is, thank God, everything is good, everything is wonderful, everything is perfect, and we're so happy that you're back. And I'm so happy to be back, and what I feel, what I feel is that I haven't gone away. I feel that I feel like in the Psalms, in the Tehillim, it says that 1,000 years to God are just a blink of an eyelash. That's what I feel like. I feel like no time has passed. All the places are exactly where they were. All the people are exactly the way I remember. The comfort level of walking around. I haven't walked so much in all of the 8 years that I was in Reggio as I have in the last 2 days, basically yesterday and today, to get my little house set up. Um, I, it's just home. It's home. It's home. And home is different from being at home in other places. This is my place. My place. Nobody is going to tell me to go away. Nobody's going to throw me out. Nobody's going to point their finger at me and say, you're a Jew. Nobody is going to tell me you can't eat in this restaurant. I don't have to worry about it. I can go to almost every restaurant and I can order almost anything I want. And it's kosher. And I don't have to read 150 labels to see how many ingredients are there that I can't have it. I can walk into a bakery and I can have cream, like a baba. I can have cream, without having to worry. I can have a hot dog in the street. I can have a hamburger. I can have McDonald's in the mall. I'll send you pictures. It's home. It's home. It's the home of the Jewish people. It's the home that we have, that we all belong to. the understanding of the world is really not important here. Having excuses is really not important here. You're home. I love Tiberias. I love the Sea of Galilee. I love being home. I love being home. I have to go. My friends are waiting. I just wanted to share this with you because it was such an enormously great feeling. Have a beautiful day, everybody. I send much love and blessings from Tiberias.